Philippians 4:13 is one of the most famous and also I discovered recently disputed verses in the Bible. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I looked around a little bit to see what some of the traditional interpretations are in Christian circles and found that there are a lot of sermons about how this does not mean that you can do all things or anything you want through Christ. But we know the teachings tell us that those who fully embody Christ can do all things that are Christ-like. The author of Philippians, Paul, himself raised someone from the dead. Yogananda spoke a lot about in his autobiography about yogis levitating and sitting in states of suspended animation without any trace of heartbeat or breath. Mark Prophet drove through a mountain. And in the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East, the masters leave their bodies and travel great distances in seconds, appearing as themselves elsewhere. There's one story in there about this man who leaves his body to protect a village, and then he goes off and does something else, and he's with this other group of people, and they're with him, and they come back to the village where he's left his body to only discover that his current form merges with his other form that had been laying dormant, and they come back to life together. And meanwhile, they noticed that this body had been left there for so long that a bird nest of a very finicky kind of bird that was very sort of, frightened and easily frightened. So any movement would have made it leave. And there was an entire bird nest in this man's hair that had been left in this body. And so there are all kinds of accounts of different things that have been done in this regard that are truly miraculous and what we're instructed to do. Paul writes in Philippians, delight yourselves in God, find your joy in him at all times. Have a reputation for gentleness, and never forget the nearness of your Lord. Don't worry over anything whatever. Tell God every detail of your needs in earnest and thankful prayer, and the peace of God, which transcends human understanding, will keep constant guard over your hearts and minds as they rest in Christ Jesus. Here's a last piece of advice. If you believe in goodness and if you value the approval of God, fix your minds on the things which are holy and right and pure and beautiful and good. Model your conduct on what you have learned from me, on what I have told you and shown you. I love this. Model your conduct on what you have learned from me, on what I have told you and shown you. And you will find the God of peace be with you. And this is where it gets into the debated passage. I know how to live when things are difficult, and I know how to live when things are prosperous. In general and in particular, I have learned the secret of facing either poverty or plenty. I am ready for anything through the strength of the one who lives within me. I am ready for anything through the strength of the one who lives within me. So what do the teachings say about this debated passage? Our beloved Jesus Christ gave a dictation on December 16th, 1984 called I Will Make You Fishers of Men, volume 27, number 59. He said, beloved, you have heard it said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now understand how universal, all-pervading, through and through thy very bones is the person of the universal mother. Understand how it is thy glory, thy discipleship, to be one with this mother. For this indeed is the womb of creation where you abide, where each one is becoming Christ, being formed and reformed in that Christ. Understand, beloved, that each one has the Dharma, truly the duty and the understanding of the universal Buddha, to be the mother on earth, holding firmly and with strength and devotion and vision and faith the understanding of each one's potential and its fulfillment. I'm going to read that again. Understanding, beloved, that each one has the Dharma, truly the duty and the understanding of the universal Buddha, to be the mother on earth, holding firmly and with strength and devotion and vision and faith the understanding of each one's potential and its fulfillment. By the grace of God, the divinity descends into humanity. And when the twain are fully one and the fire self-consuming does stand, there is a succession of self-transcendence. Step by step, the veils are parted and burned away. And as they are burned away within thyself, this divinity continually raising up the soul, transcending itself, you will know God face to face. Thus you see, ye are all God's, meaning you are all possessed of God and therefore belonging unto him. You are himself, his offspring, his creation truly, in polarity, the manifestation of God. There is no separation, but the illusion and the lie of separation is present in this world. It is the result of the going astray from the real self. Thus seek the light in the brethren. Seek the light in the ascended master. Seek the light in the one sent. For all of God with you is truly the key to present peace and happiness and future as it would appear, immortality. Thy immortality is now. Its future destination is only an appearance of working out in the cycles of life the unfoldment of self. That's beautiful. I'm going to read that one more time. Thy immortality is now. Its future destination is only an appearance of working out in the cycles of life the unfoldment of self. On this premise of understanding of the permeation of the universal presence of the mother is the foundation of the Aquarian age built. Every saint of God, every teacher and prophet comes home to the Western Shambhala in the great desiring to raise up truly the tabernacle of the witness unto the opening of the portals of heaven, where angels freely ascend and descend, and where those who have appeared to be mortals suddenly appear in the immortal state. Whether in the body or out of the body, it matters not. For immortality is a condition of being and of overcoming and of the word and the work of the Lord. Let's do that one more time because there's so much in here. It's such a beautiful illustration. Every saint of God, every teacher and prophet comes home to the Western Shambhala in the great desiring to raise up truly the tabernacle of the witness unto the opening of the portals of heaven, where angels freely ascend and descend, and where those who have appeared to be mortals suddenly appear in the immortal state. Whether in the body or out of the body, it matters not. For immortality is a condition of being and of overcoming and of the word and the work of the Lord. I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. I deserve and desire all of thy desiring and thy love and thy life, not half. but all. When thou givest all of thyself, I give all of myself. And the Father and the Son shall live in the temple. This means, beloved, thou shalt walk the earth no longer, the presence above thee, the Christ self above thee, but the Father in heaven and myself, through the I am presence in Christ self, shall dwell bodily within you. Until this shall occur, the Holy Spirit and the full power of the Godhead cannot come upon thee. Thus strive to be the presence, to be the Christ, and listen to the inner voice that does guide thee. Listen to the inner voice and obey, and all shall be well with thee, and the bliss of God shall be upon thee. So let me ask you this. Can you picture yourself doing those kinds of miracles? Can you picture yourself laying your hands on someone who's sick and praying according to God's holy will that they get better? And before your eyes, they do. Can you picture yourself having that faith to drive through the mountain like Mark Prophet did when he wasn't able to go around? What about having the faith to stop a wildfire? Carl recently told me about the Summit Lighthouse staff praying for this wildfire that was coming from from Yellowstone direction towards the ranch. And they all went out there and they all prayed for it to stop, with this fire coming towards them, blazing towards them. And it stopped. And the local officials who were there monitoring and thinking, wow, these people have lost their minds. What are they doing? All stood there agape, astonished, wondering what in the world did these people do to stop a wildfire like that? What about leaving your body and traveling the globe to another location, like some of these masters of the Far East did, just appearing? Took multiple days for some of their companions to reach the destination. And then this old man who would never have been able to make it, who didn't leave with them, appeared in 2 minutes. Just poof, there he is. Can you picture yourself doing that? What about raising someone from the dead? We're called upon to picture this and outpicture it. So what if we try? What if next time we find an injured bird or a dead animal or something, we try, we ask for the resurrection of the creature? Always according to God's holy will, but what if we try? What if next time there's a really bad storm that's oncoming, you ask for it to stop? What if you try laying your hands on someone and see if asking for their healing would ease them of whatever illness they have? We can. So in another dictation given on February 20, 1972, volume 15, number 8, called The Symmetry of the Christ Mind, beloved Paul of Nation said, "The symmetry inherent within the universe indicates to the seeking heart how carefully God has wrought, producing miracle after miracle, not only in manifest form, but also in the unmanifest and the formless. Yet seldom in a life do men touch upon the vastness of their own cosmic potential. It is essential, therefore, in the name of universal progress, that each man begins the realization of the magnificent miracle of life which he holds within himself. It is essential, therefore, in the name of universal progress, that each man begins the realization of the magnificent miracle of life which he holds within himself. In a vital sense, man can be compared to a flame, a moving flame that dances with progress. The energies of man that proceed from the flame are electrical, and the electricity of which I speak is a vital manifestation, both governing thought and being governed by thought. Those who would exercise greater self-control and greater control over their sense of the beautiful must first exercise dominion over the flame and all that comes forth from it. Then they will automatically have that faith in the beauties of both man and nature, which is essential to the attainment of God control over oneself and one's environment. Just as a flower joyously opens its petals according to its own preordained pattern, so man can release the energies of his consciousness into the blueprint of identity that marks the perfect concept and the pattern destiny, his very own from the beginning. Just as the etheric pattern of the flower is there, an electrical force field surrounding the bud with an aura of expectancy, so the design God has willed for each manifestation of himself surrounds the evolving monad as a cocoon of light, containing within itself all that man requires to fulfill his divine plan. As the flower unfolds, it follows the outline of the pattern which nature has lovingly pressed upon its cellular structure. No resistance to the cosmic flow is here, but movement toward reunion with the whole and the momentum of eons of life, evolving life, begetting beauty and expanding the universal order. Thus nature teaches man the way. And if he would follow, his life too would be the outpicturing on earth of heaven's immortal loveliness. Thus nature teaches man the way. And if he would follow, his life too would be the outpicturing on earth of heaven's immortal loveliness. Just as a universal Christ in all of us, in every master, in every angel, and the blessed elementals who sustain the petals of a rose and the boughs of the pines in the forest, so light and life and intelligence pervade all substance. Man should seek to communicate with these aspects of God's consciousness with which he has endowed both spiritual and the material creation. For even that which appears to be inert matter is imbued with the universal Christ consciousness. Won't you join me today in recommitting to becoming the very blueprint of identity that marks that perfect concept and that pattern destiny God set forth for each one of us? Won't you become that etheric pattern of the flower, the electrical force field surrounding the bud with that aura of expectancy? Will you recommit to doing all things through Christ who gives you strength, even the seemingly impossible? Dear beloved Jesus, please show us how to become more of you. Thank you so much for this teaching. Would ask for you to show us how to follow in those footsteps, even if it's just the next step, and then the next step after that. Please show us how to bring this force field to life, to be that electricity, to do that which we're called forth to do, which is innate within the nature that God gave you, that He gave to us. Thank you so much for the example you set forth. And we would ask for your guidance, that you would take our hand to stay and show us the way to do that which you have done, and to be that which you are. And we thank you and accept it done according to God's holy will. Amen.